Happy Friday, y'all. We are here with another amazing woman entrepreneur living child-free. Michele, so excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm loving it already.
Yes, it's a great way, I think, to start or continue on a Friday. And speaking of continuing on, we jump in right away with the question. So Michele has always been curious to learn what makes humans tick. What did she discover when she began to ask, and what makes her tick? So Michele, let's get going.
Well, what I think I discovered, and I did this, oh, you disappeared. What I think I discovered, oh, there you
I'm
are.
down here, little. I'm
Got
here.
it. I was like, where did she go? What I discovered was certainly we all have different things that make us tick, right? And the beauty of knowing that is really helping each other focus on our hearts and what truly is our passion, what truly excites us, so we can live that life, right? As opposed to, I appreciate society gives us lots of suggestions about how we should live, and it certainly is not necessarily in touch with who we really are. And that's the opportunity, I think. The opportunity is to live as the best version of yourself. And how can you do that when you're not living, right, with stuff that you're passionate about, excited about, and you're really looking to share? Because when you're excited, you share. So, okay.
And it's interesting because you talk about, people and living. I don't know that most people are actually doing much living.
Okay.
Like, I feel like so many people are just going through the motions. They're doing whatever it is that they're doing without actually thinking about it.
And I hear that, and I have some compassion, because I right, we just think whatever society is telling us to do. And I just actually, if I speak about my business, I was interviewing someone in Taiwan, and certainly recognizing, and she thought, she needs to take care of the community, right? Whatever her community needed, whatever her family said she needed to do, those limited her other choices. And it was almost selfish to think about yourself. And when I said to her, okay, well, let's just say your family says you need to be on a football team, and that's not really your thing, right? And really within you is you are a dancer or an artist, right? Yes, you can join the football team, but will you be your best? Right? Will you be the best quarterback? If that's really not your passion, and might you be able to, with either some other, even if it were a doctor or a lawyer, whatever your passion is, wouldn't that really serve society if you offered that as your best, right? Innovate in terms of medicine or whatever, right? Be expressive. So I love the idea that we certainly at some point are in lockstep with what society says. And my mission, or part of my mission, is to help people say, look at the world. And many of us being in lockstep, are we all happy? Is this working? So, I mean, let's just be data gatherers, scientists. This is our laboratory. And if we're agreeing, and I agree with you, Stephanie, many of us are in lockstep with what society says we're to do. Well, let's look at the world and say, is this a better world as a result? And I think you and others would agree, not so much.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't always talk much about being child-free. I mean, that's the whole point of the community, women entrepreneurs living child-free. And I want to share amazing women entrepreneurs that are living this child-free life. However, we don't talk too much about child-free or childless here because we're a business group that happen to be child-free. However, in this conversation, because if you want to talk about something that is, in lockstep of what society is doing, I think motherhood has always been ingrained. And from a science perspective, from a species perspective, then yeah, you look at animals live and have kids and move on. However, we are one of like 3 species that the females in the species have actually evolved to have menopause to live after, because as species like us and killer whales and beluga whales, Yeah, I know it's kind of interesting. Are the only animals in the animal kingdom that go through perimenopause. Some chimpanzees are close, but they typically die around that time. But in nature, they don't get it. And so it's like, how cool is it that our bodies know that we have something that we can give even after that biological is done? And we live in a world now where biology isn't the only driving force for us. And so, let's talk about this whole child free thing. And, because some people, they love having kids. Our people, not so much.
And I'll go back to what I think is the common or the most important part. It's not to or not to for me, Stephanie. It's really knowing who I am. And I believe each of us, I'll just speak for myself, however, I'm responsible for my life.
Mm.
And my commitment is to show up as the best Michele possible. That's my commitment. And I appreciate, again, that's not necessarily everyone's. That's mine. And so I need to really then make choices that enable me to make the best, not only contribution to myself and bring me the greatest joy. It automatically then is dispersed to whatever I do. If I'm the best, athlete, I can contribute, or the songwriter, or like, engineer, right? So the opportunities are limitless and infinite. And I think it has to start with not necessarily, do I do what society, do I not? For me, I'm just being, of course, transparent. It's, why was I born? What's my calling? What am I here to do? And I think the exciting part is, how do I get there? How do I express that?
And it's exciting to, how do I get there? And it's part of the fun is the journey of what is it that I even want to do. I've been on let me try new things, because I'm like, I'm a little bored. I need new hobbies because I don't like my hobbies enough. So you can't get new hobbies without trying them. And some of them I have tried and loved, and some of them I've tried like 5 minutes and I was done. And can you talk a little bit about what we need to do to help figure out how we tick? And I know that you actually have some things going on, but let's talk first. How do we figure out how we tick? Give us some help for those amazing women and maybe men watching at home.
Okay. So I'll just say, imagine that you have your friend with you, or someone who you want to have as your friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways you show up for them is you ask questions, right? You wouldn't, if they're with you, you want to know what they care about, and what makes them sad, or what really stimulates them. So in summary, it is having that quality time, right? As you would maybe a child or a friend or even a mom, a dad,
Yeah.
anyone really, where you could be asking questions as opposed to speaking. Let me at least make that suggestion.
Ah.
I know we are talking a lot because, again, our society suggests that shows how smart we are. However, Socrates, I'm a fan of Socrates. He was kind of smart and asked lots of questions and understood. He got a lot smarter as a result. So just putting that out there. And so spending quality time with yourself, and that looks differently for all of us. It could be out in nature. It could be, a quiet corner in your home. You could really be in a or a quiet state cooking. Some of us enjoy that, or gardening, right?
Yeah.
Or walking our dog. So what I love really about answering it, Stephanie, and thank you for asking, is we think it's narrow, but it's really broad. And so the more we look at, oh wow, I could do that. I think though, you keep at least this is my approach. Why would I limit myself? I look at all the options I can conceive of, and yet I know, I'll just say, probably being a football player isn't the best choice for me. just saying. But one could try it, as you say, and then decide. But given I have a certain amount of life every 24 hours. I mean, let's just assume we all have 24 hours for the moment.
Yep.
Maybe trying out football might not be a good choice, but it could be fun. But I'm just saying, right? You can in fact look at the infinite possibilities as an adventure. We talked about having an
Yeah.
adventure, right? And at the same time, knowing what your heart of hearts is. So I mean, I'll just say, recently I went to a dance event, and I chose swing dancing to as they had modern, but I said to my friend, let's do swing. And for me, after being there, and I've taken swing dance lessons, it's like, wow, it's time to go back to swing dance, because for me it just I was just I felt, and here's what makes you tick. I was just happy. I
Mm.
was just like, I mean, I could just feel it in my body. The smile was on my face. The joy was in my heart. And they actually invited the audience, said, anybody want to come up on stage and dance? I did.
Nice.
Right. So I'm just saying, how do you know? Yeah, you know. Like, you may not have known beforehand what you will feel, right? Or as I just described it. But what I think is, if you heard what I was just saying, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds like something I might enjoy.
I like it. I like it. And I'm thinking about this like footballer example. Because then I'm thinking American football or soccer, because it could even go there. But I'm thinking, like, if football is something you're passionate about, or soccer, like, maybe you can't play at a professional level, but do they have like water soccer or football that could be done? Can you play, like, sometimes they have the giant foosball players, like, could you get together and do it in that way? Is it join a fantasy league, or maybe you join a league to support a team? Maybe there's like a semi pro, like, not the majors, but like the little ones. Like, you could probably be an active part of that, maybe a booster or a volunteer. Like, if you're interested in something, it's not just, okay, I like football, but I can't play anymore. It could be, how do I get involved with football in some way, shape, or form?
And fill in the blank where football could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that is always opening the infinite possibilities, right? It's not just, as you say, I don't only need to play it to enjoy it. And I
And
think yeah, those limitations we put on ourselves and not really explore it more fully. And yet, as I say, I would advocate, if there really is no pull towards it, go somewhere else, right? And you'll see, even in, as I said, I wasn't expecting, when I went to this event, this dance event, or performance, excuse me, it was a performance. I wasn't expecting, oh, I've got to now start taking swing dance lessons. But you'll again, in answer to your question, what makes you tick, you'll feel it, you'll know, and you'll pursue it.
nice. So let me tell you all a little bit about Michele. This is normal. We don't ever start with the bio. I rarely ever finish the bio, but I do try to at least get into some of it. And Michele has some interesting things going on. For decades, she's been driven by one question: how can we help people remember who they really are?
Yeah.
From creating business incubators for women in post Soviet Russia to empowering young leaders in the Middle East, her purpose has remained consistent, helping people find agency, empathy, and the courage to lead from within. Now, she has this new program, Universities United, delivering holistic, comprehensive support that goes beyond personal growth and includes critical workplace competencies. So, can you tell us about that new program you have going on?
Thank you. Yes. So it started because I saw the debacle between Palestinians and Israelis on Columbia University's campus, where I went to graduate school. And I was horrified that they invited police, because when I went to Columbia, we actually were encouraged to have debate teams, meaning if you had a different point of view than I, we would actually go, all right, you do research on your point of view, I'll do research on mine. And we'd really have compelling reasons as to why I'm wearing this white top, and I forgot what color you're wearing. Somehow you've disappeared. Oh, there you are. Why you're wearing a red top, right? I'm just being very, very simple.
Caramel.
Caramel, thank you so
But
much.
yeah.
Right? And so it then had me realize how isolated, Harvard wasn't speaking to Columbia, Columbia wasn't speaking to Harvard. When Mr. Trump challenged them, and I saw students really being very isolated, in fear, angry, etc. And so I just said, I need to help the next generation of leaders because, in my opinion, it's not working. I look at the world and I said, I think we can use a little improvement here. It's not a judgment. It's my observation that I think this is true of my life and the world. We can always do something better. And
Mm.
actually, we applaud Apple when they do that, right? We don't say, you silly business, why are
Mm.
you coming out with something new and better? No, we don't. We say bravo, right? We don't see it as a criticism.
Yeah.
Right. So I see that as life. And so it's a 6-month program.
Okay.
It's just the tip of the iceberg because we're not looking at just de-stressing or time management or anything like that. It's really about transformation. It's really examining our lives, seeing what's working, what's not, what stays, what needs to be replaced or slightly changed, right? And build community, build communication skills so we are articulate and can be concise and inspire, hopefully, as we speak, and then inspire the other person to equally share more deeply as opposed to stereotypically reading my resume, right? And yeah, it is human centric skills, emotional intelligence, empathy, and business has also caught up to that. Research shows the new leaders understand if they want teams, they need to build trust, and if they want to build trust, they have to show up authentically. So this profit only model that has existed for a long time, and I'll say I learned this in the 70s when I visited Ben and Jerry's, an ice cream company,
Mm. Yeah.
that it went beyond just a bottom line of profit, but actually it was at that point a triple bottom line: profit, people, and the third at that point was planet. They took care of their cows in this case, um, and of course the land. And I added purpose. So for a long time I was um, having courses on those 4 Ps, right? And it's again, right? What's my purpose goes to what you just said, right? Who am I really? Why am I here? And the joy of living that way, the joy. And last thing I'll say, in case it's still impractical in some people's mind,
Mhm.
if you know who you are and you know your gift, when you go to a job interview, you don't just, go through again, I did this, I did this, and I did this. You can look at your future employer, if I'm assuming you want to work there, otherwise you wouldn't be there, and you can say, hey, I have this idea of, I can contribute in this way, right? And possibly have some breakthroughs or innovation or at least support you in this way. So yes, I'm bringing some very unique skills to help you grow and help us succeed. So this is not an impractical, exercise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And if we can figure out, like, I think about my grandfather who worked for the phone company his entire life. And that's not how it's done anymore.
Right.
And it wasn't a, do you like your job or not? And more power to, the people and the dedication to stay with the company for years, because it was a job. We live in a different world now. And I think that when we're able to bring what we enjoy in life into our workspace, it just makes it so much more fun. Like somebody's like, Tiffanie, do you really need Baby Yoda up there? I mean, that's kind of unprofessional. And my response, and my melting clock from Dolly, like, that's a little unprofessional. I'm like, well, if that's what you feel is unprofessional, then I am not going to be the right person for you, because I bring, I've got my play over, I've got all my fun stuff on the wall, right? Huh? Like, fun is so important for what I create for my clients that I have it on the wall. And so that's me, and I'm going to bring that to you. And if you don't want fun, I am not your person. But it's good to know that up front
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Because when we try to be who we're not, it really doesn't work. I mean, again, anyone who's tried it knows that,
Yeah.
right? And if it
Have you
works for a
seen
little, and it
have
might
you
work for a little while, but not not over time, because we can't really, that's the imposter. I can't really be imposter for any length of time. So yeah, so it's a wonderful gift to be true to yourself, and I think really you're then true to the rest of society. So I'll just leave it by saying I believe in win-win-wins. Win for me, win for the other person, and win for the world.
I love that. And I think that that's the way things should be. We should always be in win-win-win-win-win situations. If no one loses, then it's a great thing. Now, I laugh because sometimes my husband's like, well, compromising is just who loses most. I'm like, no, compromising is, how do we get the closest to something that works? And it's funny because I play around with experiments because he's like, I don't like this. And I'm like, I don't like that. So neither of us like it the way it is. What is going to be the way that we switch it to? And sometimes, like the knives in the drawer, it took one rearrangement and it was like, oh, this is perfect. Other times when you're experimenting, I'm experimenting with my drawer in the bathroom, what makes it best. And y'all, this is what makes me tick. I'm experimenting to make my life easier at home so that I love everything. That's what's ticking for me, is I just want it to be easy. And why would I live in a house if things annoy me? Like, I mean, I can't rearrange the rooms, but I can rearrange just about everything else.
And I'll just say, one of the things I did over the holidays, I know we're supposed to be out, out, and out. I just felt the need to do projects here. And so I
Mm.
totally rearranged the artwork in my bedroom, totally found a new sculpture to put in my bathroom. And it was totally, plastered and repainted and yada, yada. But, I'll say yes, actually, to our environment. There's feng shui, if anyone is familiar with that, but it's a science that says, this is where we're existing, and what we see and how we feel in this environment either supports us or not. Puts a smile on our face or not. So, I mean, whether it be drawers or walls, or I'll just say, I also got rid of a lot of paper and I just really feel lighter.
Mm.
Oh, I mean, but again, that's not for everyone. I'm not making that as a formula, but you find, if you're in a living environment, what puts a smile on your face? That's it. As simple as that.
And I think that's a question that most people don't ask often enough. And like the other day, I was just smiling like a fool, and somebody's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm just happy." And they're like, I'm like, "What? You don't just sometimes be happy and you're just walking around with a grin on your face?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "I'm sorry." Like my vision is how much of my, like, people are like, you are not happy all the time, and I am not happy all the time. I'm actively working on, raising my vibrational level and living in more ease and joy and all of that. But yeah, like, why can't we just be happy all the time? Or, I mean, I know not all the time, but most of the time. So I love the fact is, like, take the time, figure out what makes you tick, figure out what lights you up. And if we can't figure out, can you help us figure that out as well?
Right. And I think what we've just spoken about is helpful, right? It is not following a formula, and it's being willing to have self-discovery, right? Because that's the key. And what does it mean to be true to me? Because frequently we still are just in a knee-jerk fashion doing what we were told or doing what we're supposed to, and we're not even aware of it. However, if you make this commitment, and it's the new year, so why not? I want to spend more quality time with me and just asking questions. You'll be surprised. I'm sure many have heard of the advantage of journaling. So just
Mm.
ask, what do I need right now? What would be most important to me, or what would put a smile on my face? I do have, though, a comment about, being happy. So,
Okay.
because I've studied with the master of Kundalini Yoga when he was on the planet since the 90s. He's
Yeah.
passed since. But so there's many, many, theories and gurus, so I'm not suggesting, I'm just giving you another point of view here.
Yeah.
The person I'm studying with now is, what would it be, Stephanie, if events still occurred, people still said and did what they did, and I decided that that was fine. I'm not going to impose my will on any of them. I mean, and maybe we're control freaks, many of us, and I've been there,
Yeah.
so I can admit to doing that. not so much now. And, instead just say, if I choose my life and I'm the creator or manifester of it, can I choose to be joy no matter what happens? Right. And of course, I say, okay, I'm seeing all the time, and I'm not a person who avoids the news. I understand. I want to know what's happening on the world. It's just my thing. I like to know.
Yeah, to each their own. What makes you tick? You like knowing.
I like knowing because then
Yeah.
it gives me a chance to say, how can I serve? How can I make a difference here? But that's me again. But I'm saying to the point of joy, and I've heard, the positive mind, the negative mind. It's like, what if you just recognize that your true nature that you were born with, right? Is, and I'll go to a 4-letter word, not a bad one, love. I mean, and I know the word is overused, so everyone has their own definition of what that is, and that's fine. But I'm just going there and saying, what instead of you looking to feel the love, as many of us seek it, we just said, no, I'll just be it. I'll just be it. So, yes, a siren was disturbing me, or yes, it's not sunny and it's raining instead, right? Do I let those events impact my core, right? Who I am, how I'm showing up, or might I choose to still be that? Do you know?
Yeah.
Does that you understand? So it's a
Yeah.
different approach to I'll be positive, I'll be negative. Yeah.
Yeah. It's am I being reactive to what's going on? Am I reacting to the environment, or am I me and the environment happens? And
Which I
and, and
can't.
it's just like somebody said something that happened the other day, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's so horrible." And I'm like, "It is what it is," and we are moving on. I'm like, they're like, "Don't you want to talk about how horrible it is?" I'm like, "We can't change it. It is." Now we're what's the next step? I'm like, there doesn't do us any good in wallowing in misery. We want the positivity. Now, you
I'm
also
going to
want
take exception though, because
okay.
there are some things that are terrible. And I do want to join with others and see what we can do to change it. So I would say again, right?
If it's a situation where there can be a change
Well,
made.
the
Yeah.
only person who decides that is ourselves. I'm
Yeah.
going to go back to our truth, right? You can see that's my anchor.
Yeah.
That's what I
I mean,
could
I
say.
can't, if I get in an accident, I can't change that I got in an accident, but we can work on how we respond to it.
Right. And so too with world events, one could throw up our hands, what can I do? And I'll just say, and what I do is I do call my representatives in Congress and the Senate. I do sign petitions. I do walk out and protest. So, and a lot of people say, none of that's for me. And I'll go, that's fine. Right. But some people might say, I care about the way animals are treated. So I'll go and do something. So, I just want to say, again, it's very individualistic in terms of what's our calling.
Yes, for sure. All right.
Okay.
In just a moment, I'm going to be
Oh,
coming to you for our last. Anything else that you need to share with the audience? But before I do, y'all, we are here again every Friday with our Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free. Come hang out in the Facebook group. Just put in Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free. We've got a page, we've got a group. We want to hang out. So much so that we have a free event every month where the women can get together to network. And as I mentioned when we kicked off, it's not a big conversation about being child free. It's just women focused on being business without the kids or grandkids or distraction. Not that it's a distraction, it's a choice. It's what makes you tick, it's what lights you up. And the child free women, we've decided, or life forced on us, that we weren't going to have kids either way. And so we're celebrating that. And so that's what this group is for. Please, y'all watching, come out and join us. We love the opportunity to network. And Michele, I'm curious, what do you love about the opportunity of getting to hang with other amazing child-free women?
the ability to explore lots of points of view. I really enjoy seeing something from a multitude of perspectives. I really do. And I know many of us prefer everyone just agreeing and seeing it from the same. I understand that. And understand that's just safe, right? That just feels comfortable. That's our comfort zone. However, if you enjoy growing and learning, right? Or as we talked about before, exploring, I think when we give ourselves choice, it's the ultimate freedom, in my opinion. right? And I love the word freedom, quite frankly. So, certainly one of the benefits of being child free is for me, though I have godchildren, they're not the same, of course,
That's not quite, yeah, they're not quite the same.
not at all. It's still, I feel gratitude, Stephanie. I really feel gratitude for the amount of choice I have in my life. And I feel very privileged. However, I would say we all can, if that's something that we say, ooh, I would like that, I'm just want to say to your audience, you can. You truly, truly can enjoy more choice and freedom.
Anything you want to leave us with? This is your last chance to tell us what we need to know before we go.
Okay, I thought that was going to be that.
Oh, and it can be if that's okay. That's it. That's fine.
Um, that's important to me. Choice is really important to me. I mean, the only other way to express something similar to that, Stephanie, is for us to just really feel and see just how I'm going to use this word, and it's powerful, just how infinite we are. I know we're accustomed to the finite, what we can see and touch, but some of us are amazed at the galaxies and
Mm.
the infinite nature of the universe, and like, okay, what's that, and where am I relative to that? And I would just say, we're discovering with our abilities with technology to truly better understand that the universe, and I'll say it just like this, it's not only outside us, but it's inside us. So as we said, I think earlier, have fun exploring, right, that infinite nature of yourself. And yeah, go and create your life. And certainly if anyone needs any help, they can reach out to you. I'm happy to give tips as well.
Yeah,
And
if y'all want some more from Michele, wherever you're watching this, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever that is, drop her, Michele, please help, and she'll know to get in touch. And I know she has some amazing resources and just a plethora of knowledge that she can do to help you enjoy life.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Michele. Thanks, y'all, for watching. We will be back next week with another amazing woman living child free, and we will see